Welcome to Education Today. I'm Gabrielle Olinger of West Shamokin High School in the Armstrong School District. Tonight we'll feature an organization that works hard to help serve communities, not only here but across multiple counties. This organization does many things for surrounding communities as well as ours and brings together many people from many walks of life to try and help those communities and school districts become aware of drug and alcohol use, as well as ways to combat issues related to the usage of those items. Tonight we have brought in a member of this group to discuss the various initiatives that they put together each year and to tell us what this group is all about. Welcome to Education Today. Could you please introduce yourself for our viewers and tell us your role with the organization and what organization you work for?
Yes, hi, I'm Carrie Bentz. I'm the Deputy Director for the Armstrong Indiana Clarion Drug and Alcohol Commission. We are the single county authority for drug and alcohol in all three of our counties.
What exactly is the Drug and Alcohol Commission?
So as I said, we're what's known as a single county authority. Every county in the state of Pennsylvania has a single county authority. Some are joinders. We just happen to cover 3 counties. We are responsible and we get funding through the Department of Drug and Alcohol programs at the state level to do prevention, intervention, treatment, case management, and recovery support services.
When and how did this organization start up?
We've been in existence for over 20 years. Back in the 1970s, we have started services in Armstrong and Indiana counties, and in the last 10 years, we've started services also we took on Clarion County.
There has been an ongoing initiative for several years now called the Drug-Free Communities Coalition. Can you tell us what that is and when it got started?
Sure. The Drug-Free Communities Coalition is a grant-funded coalition. We do a lot of programming in the counties that started in 2008. We're actually in our 10th year of the grant, and you can be funded for a total of 10 years with that grant.
What, if any, differences are between the commission and the coalition?
So the Drug and Alcohol Commission is the fiscal agent for the Drug-Free Communities Coalition. So the Drug and Alcohol Commission wrote the grant for the funding to bring into our counties and our communities. We also have paid staff that are coalition coordinators for the counties as well.
The coalition has monthly meetings. What or who makes up the committee that meets?
The coalition is made up of 12 sectors in our counties. So those sectors include people from like parents and youth, law enforcement, our treatment providers, other human service agencies, other civic and volunteer agencies, school districts. Those are just some of the organizations that make up our coalition.
What services does the coalition provide?
The coalition mainly does environmental prevention. So we are looking at prevention on a greater whole to serve populations rather than just single prevention initiatives, which would be like an evidence-based prevention program in the school. So things we do in the community, we do prescription drug take-backs with our law enforcement. We've helped law enforcement agencies to get permanent prescription drug boxes into their law enforcement departments. We do educational presentations, but more at the community level on alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. We do presentations for parents, also for youth. It is a youth-focused coalition in the fact that the program that we do is to address the youth in our communities to reduce substance use. We do a youth leadership conference. We take students to the SAD conference each year. We partner with school districts to do programming as well. So those are some of our initiatives.
What communities does the group serve, and how do you keep up with so many areas across such a large geographic area?
So we serve all the communities in our counties, which is hard to keep up with because there are a lot of small communities and far-reaching communities in our rural counties. One of the ways that we try to keep up with all of that is to partner with some of our grassroots efforts that have started in the counties. So there is a organization called RAID, Residents Against Illicit Drug Use, here in Armstrong County. We partner with them. We partner with another organization called the Blairsville Community Support Group, that's out of Indiana County. The Advocacy Group for Recovery, that's here in Armstrong County as well. And just other human service agencies and support groups, so that, you know, they can take our information and get it out there to a broader reach.
Last year, the Commission decided to add meeting dates and locations to their monthly schedule. Why was this done, and what benefit does it have?
We just found that trying to get Armstrong County and Indiana County to meet together in the middle of the county was becoming a little cumbersome for some people. It was easier to separate the meetings out and take them each into their own counties. So yes, now we have a meeting in Armstrong County and we have a meeting in Indiana County. We do coalition meetings in Clarion County as well. So then that way people don't have as far to drive and it's just easier to reach them.
I know there is some federal funding involved. What kind of requirements or restrictions come along with that?
So yes, the Drug Free Communities Grant is a federal funded grant through ONDCP, which is the Office of National Drug Control Policy. And the restrictions, we get $125,000 a year. We are allowed to a maximum of 10 years for that grant. We have to come up with matching funds for those grants as well, for that grant. And we're only allowed to spend our funds on environmental prevention. So we had to build a strategic plan based on our data and what we were going to do in our communities when we wrote the grant.
How do ideas get their start? Are they things that the federal government is asking you to do, or do they generally come from a committee or an outside community member?
They come from doing a needs assessment of our counties and where the needs are. So we use data from our counties. We use the Pennsylvania Youth Survey, which is a very important survey that's done at the school level. It tells us, it's done in 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grade. So what are some of our risk and protective factors in our communities? We use treatment data, arrest data. So in order to identify those risk factors, like what is the problem? So we might identify through our surveys that underage drinking is a problem. And then we identify, okay, what are we doing to address that, which would be some of our protective factors, those things that negate our risk factors.
When is it decided to move forward with an initiative? Do you try and implement it in all areas or just certain areas?
We move forward with initiatives that we have identified as a need, and we go through kind of a planning and implementation process through the coalition. So it's usually based on need. It's not just somebody comes up with this great idea, although we have a lot of great ideas, but we need to also take those ideas and make sure that it is addressing the needs in our community.
In what ways can someone get in contact with the coalition?
Probably the best way is through our web address, which would be www.aidac.org. And if you were just to Google Armstrong, Indiana, Clarion, we would come up. We also have a Facebook page, and you can just put in My Drug Free Community, and you'll be able to find us, which also goes into our Twitter page as well. We also have email, which you'll find on our webpage, and then our main telephone number at the office is 724-354-2746.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with the Armstrong School District's Education Today.
All your professors, all of them, they know that all it takes is one dreamer with passion, one person, and they hope in each of you that you might be that one who makes a longer-lasting light bulb, who writes music for the ages, who reaches into the mind and discovers a new star and who can change the world of a 5th grader. We're gathered here to hope in you.
The brain is a remarkable organ. It's almost infinite in its capacity. Its ability to reach its full potential is limited by only one thing: the heart. For if the heart isn't fully engaged in what you're doing, If you have no drive, no passion, the brain will simply go through the motions. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Welcome back to the Armstrong School District's Education Today. Tonight we are talking with Ms. Carrie Bentz, a crucial piece to the Armstrong Indiana Clarion Drug and Alcohol Commission. I know that the Commission and DFC have offices in all 3 counties, but do you work with any other groups in other counties?
We do. With other single county authorities, we sometimes partner on initiatives in other counties. Our counties cross so much between like Clearfield Jefferson, Westmoreland County, that sometimes when there's a training or an opportunity to hear a speaker, we might send invitations out and they do the same thing with us.
Another big initiative every year is the Youth Leadership Conference. What are some details that you can tell us about that?
So the conference will be in February of 2018. We will have it at the Hub, the Hadley Union Building at IUP campus. We did secure a main event for the conference. It's called Think Fast Interactive. So it's a fun interactive game that's built on kind of questions that students will have clickers and they can click in and answer the question. So it'll be fun and interactive for the students. And we will be inviting students from Armstrong and Indiana counties to attend that conference.
Why is it important for the youth of our communities? What kind of feedback do you get from this event?
So we do surveys at the conference every year with the students to just find out, how well we did they like the speakers, the different breakout sessions, and then they all always have the opportunity to provide us some feedback on what they would like to hear for the next conference. I know last year we focused more on suicide prevention and healthy relationships because that was the feedback we got. This year, due to feedback, we're going to focus more on alcohol, tobacco, opioids. They wanted more information just specifically on drugs.
Another big program is the reality tour. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So the reality tour is done at the Indiana County Jail. We do it on a monthly basis, and there's a schedule on our website for the reality tour. But it is a program for parent and child to attend together to start that conversation about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs.
How can someone get information about signing up to attend one of these events?
They can go to our website at aidac.org and they can download a registration form and you can register for the reality tour online, or you could just call us and we could get you registered for that.
Why is this program important? What kind of feedback do you receive about it?
We feel it's important because we want parent and child or caregiver and child to attend together. It's meant not to be a scare tactic, but to start the conversation about alcohol, tobacco, other drugs. For parents to get tips on how to ask those questions and how to then filter those questions once they get the answers, and how to talk to their kids. So that's why we feel it's important. Some of the feedback that we get, we do surveys as well at the reality tour, and people will write on the survey that this program was priceless, it really helped me. At the end of the program, we have a recovery speaker, somebody in recovery, or somebody who may have lost a child due to a drug overdose, and that is a very powerful piece in that program.
The coalition also collects data from the counties it serves. How is that data collected and presented?
We collect data, like I've mentioned before, through the Pennsylvania Youth Survey. We do that across all 3 of our counties actually, and it's county level data, so we don't look at school district or school building specific data. So we collect that in grades 6th to 8th, 10th, and 12th. Like I said before, we collect other data as well, archival data. We always track everything that we do too. So our treatment data, how many people we're serving, any programmings that we do, everything goes into a database.
What kind of data is collected, and from what percentage of grades is it obtained?
So we collect data through surveys, the Pennsylvania Youth Survey, and it is obtained in grades 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th.
Before we go, are there any other programs you want to mention or talk about?
Yes. We have lots of programs. I can probably be here all day going over all of them, but I just wanted to touch on a few. So we currently have a program called ARMOT. It's our Addiction Recovery Mobile Outreach Program, and we do it at all 3 of our hospitals, so Armstrong County Memorial, Indiana Regional Medical Center, and also Clarion Hospital. That program, we're trying to, with the opioid epidemic, close the gaps in services so that people are getting into treatment quicker and not, if they go into the hospital and they present with a heroin or opioid addiction or any type of addiction, that they can get from the hospital directly into treatment. So that's one of our programs. It's working very well. We also just started an on-call program in Indiana County, and once we get it up and running and fully underway, we will then move it to Armstrong County as well. But the premise of that program is we were finding from working with our first responders and EMS that if they were called out to an overdose, that people might not get on the ambulance and go to the hospital if they were revived. And being revived with a drug that's known as naloxone or Narcan, it reverses an opioid overdose. So in order to help EMS kind of get more people on board, either onto the ambulance to the hospital or get them the help they need, they can call our hotline, and they can be connected with a certified recovery specialist that will talk them through that process of how to get into treatment. And I did mention naloxone, also known as Narcan. We do those trainings throughout all 3 of our counties. We provide Narcan for free in all 3 of our counties. So if anybody were to need naloxone, they could give us a call and we would set them up with a training and provide that for them.
Again, could you mention ways in people... Okay. Again, could you mention ways in which people can contact you?
Sure. So probably the easiest way is to just Google us, Armstrong Indiana Clarion Drug and Alcohol Commission. We have a website. They can also call our main office, which is 724-354-2746. We also have a drug-free communities page, so if they look up My Drug-Free Community, they could also make contact with us.
Is there anything else you'd like to add for the benefit of our viewers?
I would just like to encourage anybody out there, because our coalitions and our programs are open to the public, to please consider joining one of our coalition meetings in whichever county suits best for you, because we want more people to be a part of this solution.
Well, that's all for our show today. I'd like to thank our guest, Carrie Bentz of the Armstrong Indiana Clarion Drug and Alcohol Commission, for taking the time to join us tonight. Our thanks also goes out to the TV production students of West Shamokin High School as our film crew today. Also a big thank you to our teachers, Mr. Nick Lamantia and Mrs. Julie Parks, for making this possible. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. DVD copies of this and all Education Today programming can be requested by contacting Chris Garantino, Multimedia Technician at Armstrong Junior Senior High School. Visit our website for the updated information about the district, and have a great week.